It's 18 minutes on to the hour of 11 a.m. You're locked on to the Clean First Song WEFM 99.9. Welcome to our Shakeup's program for today, Tuesday, the 28th of January. Today's Shakeup's scripture reading will be taken from Psalms 35, verses 1 to 3. Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me. Fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and stand up for mine health. Draw out also the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am thy salvation. That's your Shakeup scripture reading, taken from Psalm 35, verses 1 to 3. You're locked on to the Clean First Song with 99.9. Remember, Shakeup is an interactive program, so the numbers to call 457-9997. The numbers to call again 457-9997. Also be interactive on WhatsApp or text. The number to call or text 457-9997. Today's Shakeup host for today, Tuesday the 28th of January 2025 would be hosted by Mr. Augustine Ferdinand.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
Thank you very much, Richie. Good morning to you and good morning to the listeners of WEFM. Those of you who are listening to us via Star and Garfin Radio, a special good morning to the staff of Star FM. Greetings to my good friend and brother, Selson Crick. I have to see you either sometime this week or next week. Greetings to Comrade Noel and Comrade Burns and Comrade Bergen, Obi. Those of you who are listening in the comfort of your homes this morning, special greetings to the General Secretary of the Unity Labour Party, Mr. Julian Francis. Greetings to those of you who are viewing us on social media via WEFM 99.9 Facebook page. Those of you in the diaspora, and Tammy and Caddy, Happy New Year's to you. Greetings to Garns and Evans, Kojo. Many of you who are listening across the various states of the United States of America. Greetings to Consul General Fitzhuggins in Canada. Also my good friend and brother in Oman, Mr. Darren Grant. And our many students around the world this morning, or depending on the time zone, afternoon or good evening. As usual, it's an interactive program, and the number to call and get interactive with us is 457-9997. That's 457-9997 to get interactive with us here on the program. Today being Tuesday the 28th, I just want to announce that tomorrow there will be the distribution of cards to registered and assessed households from Southern Grenadines. And that will take place at Bank of St. Vincent Yard in Union Island, and also on Thursday, those of you in Kanawan, and more than likely also Mairo, you will see the distribution of cards at the revenue office. And you, of course, are to walk along with your ID or your national ID card. So that is tomorrow. Well, those of you who are already in the system, you are registered, your household is assessed. You will go to Bank of St. Vincent Yard in Union Island to receive your card. And that will take place from at least midday to the evening, 3-4 o'clock. And on Thursday, from 9 o'clock to 12 noon in Kanawan at the revenue office. Now, today's program, I want to look at debt. Not DEATH, but DEBT, debt. Yeah, when you borrow money, you got to repay. And there's a lot of conversation surrounding debt. There are those who are of the opinion that debt is bad and you should have nothing to do whatsoever with borrowing of money. Various economists will disagree on that note. There are those who believe in making sure that the books looks perfect or near to perfect, but everything around you in reality is crumbling. And therefore, given the discussion where our debt to GDP here in St. Vincent and Grenadines is 93%, and where the opposition, and I listened to Fitz Bramble, the MP for East Kingston, last week on his program, on Kingsley's program, talk about the economy and debt. Now, I often say this, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, yesterday I look at education and then look at the amount of money spent in education and the benefits and why it's important that you, the listeners, encourage your children and grandchildren in order for their future to be safeguarded. They have no choice but to vote for the Unity Labour Party, because NDP for sure will not be distributing and approving 2,000 tuition scholarships. And if any of your child or children, grandchildren also want to study in Taiwan, surely, given the one China policy which the NDP subscribe to, that opportunity wouldn't exist. So no matter how you look at it, in safeguarding that future, you have no choice but to vote for the Unity Labour Party back into government for another term. But we're looking at debt today. DBT debt. And sometimes the management of a country, while it is not like managing your home, it ain't far off. Of course, it's more complex. Many homeowners know that if you're working, the salary that you get is your revenue, your income. And in that home, you have children, you have yourself, you have various expenses. So the income that you have what you may call the recurring. I mean, normally when you listen to budget, I like to simplify things a bit. You would hear about recurrent expenditure. At your home, you have, in that term, your usual expenses. And your usual expenses will be your utility bills. So you have to make sure pay water, electricity, given the age we live in, internet. You have to buy food, because in order to get energy and to live, you have to eat. So you have to buy food and you have your utility bills. And the income which you receive will cover that. Now, you may have a vehicle, makes things even more complex. You have vehicle maintenance, and you have the usual fuel, because you have to buy gas. So that is your recurrent spending. You always have to spend for that. And in instances, those who have insurance, whether health or otherwise, you pay that. That insurance, something similar like a contingency fund, because it's something that you pay just in the event something is to occur. So sometimes you may pay health insurance and you're covered for various critical illnesses. In some instances, or most instances actually. And that is in the event you have a critical illness that you can dip into that fund to help cover those expenses. A contingency fund, a disaster occur, is unforeseen, you dip into the fund, just as the government did last year, in taking out $50 million from the contingency fund, which the opposition opposed in 2017. And were able to use that money to respond swiftly, immediately to the needs of the people adversely affected. So yeah, government, you have contingency fund. For us, homeowners, individuals, we have insurance in the event something occurs. Simple. Now, there are instances where things may happen at the home. You realize that you have a plumbing problem. That's an additional expense. It's unforeseen, but it happened. You have a crack in the wall. You have a hole in the roof. You may realize that one part of the house, the tiling, is lifting up. But you still have the children to send to school and their own expenses. And this is where now you have to prioritize, because obviously you can't fix all of them one time. The cupboard door may want to fix. But you can't fix all of them one time because of the income you receive. So you have to prioritize, and you give priority whether the child may need a new shoes or a new bag. The plumbing has to be fixed immediately, but you leave the tile for later on down next month. So now you have to prioritize. Similar thing with government. There are many needs, but you don't have all the resources to deal with all the needs at one time. So you prioritize. Simplifying it. Now, you may want to put an addition on the home. So you fix the repairs, etc. But obviously your income, even that which you put savings in a credit union, it can't cover the $70-something thousand that you may need to expand your home, which includes not just the construction material, but workmanship and the like. So what you do, you approach the financial institution. And you do what? You borrow. Now your home can be both an asset and a liability. Liability, you have to pay the usual expenses. An asset, you can use it to generate more revenue, income. You may rent it downstairs, you may turn it into a shop, whatever. I'm teaching some little things here. Simplified way. And you borrow the money to do the expansion. Would you call that bad debt? Unnecessary debt? It's upgrading your home. It is increasing the value of your property. Would you deem it as bad debt? Normally during Christmas time, many homeowners go to places like courts and elsewhere, and you more or less take out furniture or even appliances. And they add value But you have to make down payment and you pay on a monthly basis. You still pay back money because you don't have sufficient income that you receive on a monthly basis every fortnight to cover that expense. So you, again, more or less like borrow and you pay on a monthly basis in installments. Government on a usual basis, pay on interest and principal. Your child may want to study and you may take out get a disadvantaged student loan or a regular loan, and again you pay interest and principal. Is that a bad debt? A bad investment? No, it's not. So again, I start off the discussion talking of debt, DEBT debt. Because from the discussion I heard last week on Kingsley's program, and you often hear the opposition talk about debt. The debt is very high. Oh Lord, have mercy. It's Vince done with. Based on these scenarios, we can then understand that debt can be a good thing, especially in instances where it adds value. It's a worthwhile investment. Obviously, if you borrow money to do something that it makes sense, then you may say that is bad debt. If it ain't useful, you may see it as bad debt. Yeah? And I'm going to go into some examples here because I know some people might get all in the feelings. So I'm going to go into that. I know normally during carnival time, you have a lot of loans given out and persons borrow to enjoy carnival. And that's also debt. And you pay again on a usual basis. So, looking at debt, and therefore I'm quite sure, having stated this up front, we understand that debt isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can be a good thing, and it's also applied in our daily living because we too borrow money. But it's now 11 o'clock, so we'll take the usual commercial break, and then we go deep into this discussion.
.9 WEFM.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line it, with the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, it's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, with over 60 years experience. Hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. Yeah. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry. We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Live it, love it, embrace it.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain, Cooper Tires, king of the road and track, Ostone, the king of the outback, and High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
You know I don't like gossip, but oh my gosh, I can't keep this to myself. Things nice from January 20th. Jake's Kitchen having sale on cabinets, wall cabinets, base cabinet, pantries, and cabinet accessories at a massive 50% off. Yes, half price. Check out the storeroom upstairs, Caribbean Glass, Kingstown. Mix and match your cabinets and suit your kitchen. I tell you, the news sweet. The sale begins January 20th until stocks last. You still standing there? Don't say I didn't tell you.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
So yes, we are back in studio of WEFM. I am your host, Augustine Ferdinand. Remember the number to call, 457-9997, as we discuss debt, D-E-B-T, debt. And like I said, the running of a country is not the same as running your home. It's more complex. But there are similarities. Let us take this call. Greetings, caller. Good morning. Welcome to Shakeup.
Hold on, just let me turn. So, I'm going to deal with subject of money, not quite in the way you're doing it, but it might not. You might. Now, I listened to something from the World Bank the other day. They seem to think that the world is bordering on a crisis when it comes to the tariff that the countries are charging to and from their own countries. They are so perturbed about the whole situation, as a matter of fact. Tariffs on this gone up, tariffs on this gone up, and all kind, that they think that the economy of every country in the world is soon going to change because of the amount of tariff that is being imposed on countries. I wonder something, Mr. Ferdinand. I know that boats bring in goods to St. Vincent, but are there any cargo planes that come into St. Vincent?
Yes, you have planes that bring in cargo.
They do, yeah. Because there's no getting away from the fact that from month to month things seem to be climbing a little higher on products coming in.
The thing is, tariffs are applicable despite whatever mode of transportation, whether it be via air or sea.
I know.
Okay.
But I was just wondering if when you bring it in by plane, it becomes much more expensive.
Yes.
That's what I don't know. I just was wondering. They just
Yes.
mentioned tariffs.
Yes.
And what all the boots are charging.
By air, it's more expensive.
But they are very perturbed about it. As a matter of fact, they're going to have a conference, if it is not going on right now, about what to do to try and control what the countries are asking for to be paid in tariffs.
Well, what I'll say is this. I believe, given that the World Bank is an international institution, just as the World Trade Organization, I believe preferably the World Bank would prefer no tariffs at all. The World Bank prescribed to the ideals of free trade. And that means the elimination of many barriers as possible to facilitate international trade.
Maybe that's why they're so perturbed about the way people are charging tariffs.
Yes, because what tariffs, what they do, they make the cost of goods and they make trade also very costly.
All right, I could understand because I get the surprise of my life every now and then. Last month something cost something, and next month it gone up.
And the thing is, once you have international trade being costly, with the consumer in terms of our spending habit, we will therefore spend less, and you may eventually have what's called a slowing down of your economy and the global economy on a whole as a ripple effect. And the last thing World Bank and other financial institutions will want is a slowing down of economic growth.
Well, they seem to think the world is hovering right over that borderline. I just thought I'd ask because I'm getting a little concerned about something costing $1 today, and next time you ask, it costs $3.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, no problem. All right, Miss Harold, no problem. Yes. The world we live in, we live in a globalized community, and that is why sometimes when some persons in St. Vincent and Grenadines, or even those in the diaspora, when the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines make certain statements pertaining to an international issue, and you hear some persons say, well, we have no calling in that. Let us focus on ourselves. Well, we can't do that because there are many things out there globally that also impact us. As far as we may be from Ukraine and Russia, the actions of both states do affect St. Vincent and Grenadines greatly. They do. So we have to pay attention to these things, and we have to lend our voice to these issues because we live in a global village, and therefore we too are affected by many decisions made by other states. Now, so yes, the running of a home and the running of a country, they're not the same, but there are similarities. So like I said, you may have your child may need new shoes or new uniform. The face basin need fixing. You have plumbing problems there. There's a crack in the wall for the longest while that you need to fix. There's a particular hole in one of the roof that you need a new roof in. But you can't fix all them one time. Your vehicle may have some suspension issues, but you're waiting to catch a hand to deal with that as well. So you can't fix all of them one time. So you prioritize. The state, similarly, you have road issues, you may have some infrastructure issues with one or two clinics and schools and the like. You have certain payments to make to certain organizations. You have to prioritize. From the resources you have to tend to certain immediate needs. Similarly, with what you do at your home. You, of course, have to pay the important bills. Make sure that the thing keep going. And in instances, you borrow to expand your home. If you're doing a major repair as well on your home. total overhaul on your vehicle or purchase a new vehicle as an investment, furniture, new appliances, you borrow. You pay installments, you pay on the interest, you borrow a loan for educational purposes, you borrow. Just as the state borrow in instances to the roads, river and city fences, to build a new port, to build an international airport, and the like, you borrow. The important thing is that what you borrow is going towards important investments that are beneficial to you, the people and the country as a whole. So you may deem it as good debt because it is providing a benefit. It is adding value. Just as you borrow to expand or renovate your home, it is a benefit. It adds value. The value of your property increases. Yeah? So when I hear Brambla and others who talk about debt and they don't explain why we have such debt, where did debt come from, what we borrow to do with what we borrow this money is for, then you ain't telling the whole story. So that is why I want to deal with it today. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, debt to GDP currently is 93%. Why 93%? There are many and various factors that result in the debt increase. Sometime last week, like I said, Mr. Bramlett was on radio. And someone posed a question to him about the debt and why the increase in the debt. And therefore, he basically answered. And he talked about the disasters. So I want to play the recording for you.
Was the debt to GDP ratio around 70% at the end of 2019 as one?
That is correct.
What has then changed between 2020 and 2024 to have caused the debt to be elevated to 92%?
Mm-hmm.
As two, and are there any factors which would have created any challenges for this spike in the past 5 years?
Well, I'm quite sure that person who asked the question, they know the answer. Obviously, the disasters that we encountered, COVID, burial, and the volcano had contributed to the debt to GDP increasing.
So you hear that? They will go and they say, oh boy, mother, Lord have mercy. The government of St. Vincent and Grenadines mismanaging the economy, mismanaging the finances of the country, and sung all sorts of alarm. But they don't tell you why the increase in the debt. They just make it seem as though, well, boy, the government borrowing left, right, center without any care in the world, and it's bad debt. But you heard him there. The opposition will tell you the same thing, but he won't tell you that, yeah, the government borrowed the money to do X, Y, and Z. Because they want you to think that the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines don't know what it's doing and is mismanaging the economy and the finances. Greetings, caller.
Yeah, morning, comrade.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, well, that's how them love use the word hoodwink, but how them hoodwinking them supporters.
Yep.
Can you hear the statement he made? Oh, the person who asked the question, they know the answer.
Exactly.
You give the answer. You say you have it almighty that you're the best economist in the country right now. And look, his answer, but like he be ashamed for answer. Because they keep talking about the government using pass with COVID and volcano and no burial and all kind of shopping there.
Mm-hmm.
So who listening? Is smart and conscious one of them who listening could know them ain't ready yet.
Yep.
And next thing we them all comrade. I see on Facebook right now they had a thing with the airport and that thing hurt me bad enough. My body. Very bad enough. That thing hurt me.
Well, I addressed that. I addressed it yesterday. There was a release sent out by EIA that those photos
I see the release and
look, I was telling a brethren of mine. First of all, especially many of us who travel, you know there are instances where you'll see one or two cracks, even grass sometimes on a runway. But because of regular maintenance of an airport, that's dealt with.
Definitely.
But to have
there's no paper plane.
Exactly, but to have these things circulating to make it seem as though that boy there's this big pothole at EIA, which is accurate. I mean.
But look, they had an incident in Barbados. Tell me which citizens of Barbados you see post this and post that. Would them bring it show me which citizens of Barbados post about the incident what happened the other day? And try to betray Barbados. First thing they love to do, especially some of the media houses, like them just glad for hear crime happen. For post. And then the other ones, them who they behind of them, running up and down. Oh, this I see them rejoicing to about Trump with the deportation. Some of them even say, oh, they should Trump should send back deport them Vincent Chan first. But I hope no. I want them to know about this story with the little boy who called Wolf. Let them forget about them story. They going to go 40 this year and they're selling cat. You know, they be an L he may be like in his late 60s and things. And most things they tell me, oh, you're young, I don't know nothing. But I just always say that is where history comes. A man who don't know history is like a tree without roots.
Yes.
So that's why sometimes we just have to go back. All weekend we go Sandy Bay. Well, we make a little line up and thing and some other brethren and thing, and then we come down to the thing we'll come at in Sansu City. And me and a guy had a little, I ain't gonna say argument, you know, I shit. And I said, me buddy, I grew up in Vinci from 6 years old. I was born in Trinidad. My grandparents is Vincentian. So I know how it used to be in school time while I going to Spring Village Methodist School. I know it wasn't. So when they talk about, oh, you're young, you don't know this and know that. I plenty of time, me know what happen. As me say, me going to 40 in April coming. So me know them. Me know how Vinci been for. And then I up and telling you know, I said, me buddy, you know, certain part of the country had all the out here, which are talking about the windward side country, as the was, and the NDP. They used to call our country bookie, this, that. Eventually, they used to scan country. Then they used to study nobody out there. Right now, the biggest house, the biggest ride, go out there and see them.
Progress. All right, man.
You know what I mean? So we need to stop them thing, man.
Yes.
The place, the country belongs to all of it. All them knows do, what them do for them? What them doing for the country? What you doing for the country? It's not the government country alone. It's the citizens. So what you doing to make your country look good? It's not what the country could do for you, what you doing.
Yep.
We didn't come this wrong, sir.
Yes, man. Thank you.
That's comrade saying, we're not run single.
Thank you.
Six shit.
All right, man.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Thanks for your contribution. So you heard Bramble. I'll play it again. On the matter of debt and why the debt increase.
Was the debt to GDP ratio around 70% at the end of 2019 as one?
That is correct.
What has then changed between 2020 and 2024 to have caused the debt to be elevated to 92%? As two, and are there any factors which would have created any challenges for this spike in the past 5 years?
Well, I'm quite sure that person who asked the questions, they know the answer. Obviously, the disasters that we encountered, COVID, burial, and the volcano had contributed to the debt to GDP increasing.
Yeah. COVID, hurricane burial, and the eruptions of last year. 3 major incidents in the space of 4 years. 3. And we ain't talking about droughts. We ain't talk about issues pertaining to dengue, epidemic. We ain't talk about none of those things. Talk about burial, sulfur, and pandemic. We ain't talk about Hurricane Elsa as well. All those things make you spend a lot of money and you have to borrow money to respond. So you heard them. It's not that they don't know. They know. But they'll want you to feel that the government just borrowing left, right, and center without any care or only because they could borrow. But there's a reason for the borrowing. And the borrowing is to help people and also to continue to build our country. So you have, for instance, the port project is $650 million. Is that bad debt? Some of that money is debt finance. Is it bad? Or isn't it a worthwhile investment? Because at the end of the day, when it's completed, middle of this year, not only modernized and even its functions and the capacity of it, in having more containers and goods exported and imported, and creating jobs, enhancing the other part of Kingston, Western End. It's adding value, significant value to our country. It's a worthwhile debt. It's a worthwhile debt. Diagal International Airport, $750 million. A good portion of it debt financed. Isn't it a worthwhile investment? Hello? Record-breaking stayover visits to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Sandals is here, 850 jobs. Isn't it a worthwhile investment? Existing hotels are expanding on rooms. Kingsley said, benefit to taxi and tour operators. Isn't it a worthwhile investment? The very roads that you ask for to be constructed and to be fixed, isn't they adding benefit to the communities and the transportation economy? Oh, yes. So the debt isn't bad debt. It's good debt because the money is borrowed, catered towards the benefit of the people. Aftermath of suffering, you have homes to build, homes to repair, bridges to build. You borrow. Good debt. And that is why I very much enjoyed the contribution by the Deputy Prime Minister in Parliament when he talked about debt and what the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines, the current government, spent on versus what the NDP spent on. We heard Bramley said about the pandemic and suffering and others. In 2019, I want to go into some facts. Anyone can verify these figures on the website of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank under the statistics head. In 2019, I just want to say this before I even start that. Optimally, Eastern Caribbean Central Banks, in terms of its target for debt to GDP for all islands, is 60%. That is the target. St. Vincent and Grenadines in 2019 was on that target. Our debt to GDP was 66%. And I'm quite sure in 2019 you used to hear the opposition still talking about, oh Lord, mother, watch the debt of St. Vincent. That will tell you how they're dangerous. This was just 2019. 66%. Obviously, within 4 years, you had, from 2020 pandemic, you had eruptions of Lassa in 2021, and still pandemic ongoing up to 2022. Hurricane Elsa. Then you now have Hurricane Beryl. We have the construction of the port. You have roads and other things. The debt, obviously, and the Minister of Finance and even the Prime Minister alluded to this last year, that even with the construction of the port, we can expect our debt to increase, but it will taper off and then reduce. So it's now at 93%. But you and I know that I've often come here on this program and say that if it's one moment, the Citizenship by Investment program should have proven that it can actually help various states in cutting a lot of spending and preventing states from borrowing, was during the pandemic era. I always say that. However, the evidence shows otherwise. Again, you could check the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank website. Antigua, they have a Citizenship by Investment program. Their debt to GDP then in 2019 was 74%, actually lower than it was in 2019. Currently, it's 76%. They didn't face lots of eruption and Hurricane Beryl and Elsa like we did. So obviously. St. Kitts and Nevis, the poster state for Citizenship by Investment program, and trust me, there's not much good news about St. Kitts and Nevis CBI currently, under real problems. In 2019, they exceeded the target of 60%. Their debt to GDP was 54%. During the pandemic, it moved from 54% to 67%. Again, you could verify for yourself. Dominica. Again, they sell passports. You often hear the opposition in this country, and even Bramble talk about it. Oh, you know, we are going to have this Citizenship by Investment program so we don't have to borrow monies. Then what did it tell us? So that we could fix all the roads and light all the hard coats and get all kind of medication and this, that, and that. Then what did it tell us? Dominica. 2019, their debt to GDP was 78%. During the pandemic, it went up to 109%. You know what it means to have a debt to GDP above 100%? A serious thing. Currently, it's at 91%. St. Lucia, again, they sell passports, not so? In 2019, debt to GDP 61%. 2020 for 74%. Grenada. The World Bank last year deemed Grenada's debt portfolio to be in debt distress. Not risk at debt distress, but in debt distress. In 2019, their debt to GDP was 59%. In 2023, 71%. What this shows is that every single member state of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, part of the currency union, debt increased exponentially. And mind you, the one country that experienced a lot of disasters in a short space of time is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are at 93%. But the opposition, and we don't sell passports, by the way, they do, but still we're managing, given the circumstances, much better. But the opposition will make you feel that the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines is mismanaging the finances, mismanaging the economy. The best performing economy, 2023, St. Vincent and Grenadines. The best performing economy during pandemic 2020 was St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That is a fact. Our economy over the last 3 years have grown significantly. 1%, 5%, 5.5%, 6%. But the opposition going to tell you that, oh, the economy ain't growing. Not so. I will just tell you that the economy ain't growing and that no jobs being created and the government don't know what it's doing. They will just tell us. Yeah, but you all have to face the facts. But it's now 25 minutes to the hour of 12 o'clock, so we'll take the short commercial break and then resume with the program.
99.9 WEFM.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line with the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, it's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, with over 60 years experience. Hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. Yeah. This is your boy Luther say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
Whether you're ripping it up on the highway or taking a casual Sunday drive, OT Tire Limited is second to none when delivering excellence at reasonable prices. We offer new and used tires, tire repair and installation. We are the only place that offers nitrogen, which helps with gas consumption and ride comfort. Supplying you with brand name tires like Maxxis, Kumo, Good Ride, Westlake, and Triangle.
Boom! Enjoy the VIP style customer waiting lounge with refreshments and free Wi-Fi. You know what I'm saying, yo? This is Skinny Fabulous, and when it comes to tires, nobody makes it easier than OT. Boom! Got me run the road. When me OT car tire.
Follow OT Tire on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter today.
Hey, boom! Run the road. With OT tires.
At Lynch Caribbean, yes, we offer comprehensive insurance solutions and broking. But we are more than an insurance broker. We drill down to your core business strategy. We keep a pulse on risk to keep your operations healthy.
On your mark, get set.
Along the way, helping you to drive competitive advantages. At Lynch Caribbean, we have your back. Contact us today for insurance solutions, strategic risk advisory, and more. Call 453-3300. Email info@lynchcaribbean.com or visit our office in Beachmount, Kingstown. Follow Lynch Caribbean SVG on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, or visit www.lynchcaribbean.com.
WEFM 99.9, home of quality programming. A source of reliable news and information. Home of legendary voices and music. WEFM 99.9, the clean fresh sound. Visit us online at www.999wefm.com or call 457-9994. WEFM 99.9, the clean fresh sound.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
So yes, we are back in studio of WEFM. I am your host, Augustine Ferdinand. Remember, you can send us WhatsApp at 457-9997, or you can also call via landline and WhatsApp on the same number, 457-9997. So with this, we continue with the discussion on debt. So they tell you, the opposition that is, that we need CBI so that we don't have to borrow money. But the very countries who have the CBI programs, they're borrowing, and not just borrowing, they're borrowing excessively too. All of them borrowing. As a matter of fact, now I talk about that. I even saw recently that in Antigua, for example, and Antigua's debt to GDP 2019 was 74% lower than us. Higher than us, sorry. We were at 66. They're currently at 76%. They're still way above the threshold of 60%. And recently, the Prime Minister and the government of Antigua increasing license fees for motorists because they say they need to increase the fees to help finance for road repairs. I think NDP said that CBI Grey help fix roads. Antigua CBI, so. Last year, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis say they can't pay no bonus to workers. Friday talking about CBI gonna do wonders. In Grenada, they're in debt distress. They have CBI. In Dominica, their debt to GDP at 91%. They have CBI. St. Lucia, they're at 74%. They have CBI. I mean, why is this thing NDP telling us that CBI gonna make wonders? You don't have to borrow money. Yeah? Not so? Oh boy. They say that sometimes it's too good to be true. When something is too good to be true, you better beware. Too good to be true. So we continue the discussion. And like I said, I enjoyed the Deputy Prime Minister's contribution because we're talking about debt. And so he looked at the NDP's, what made up their debt portfolio versus the current government and some of the major initiatives where we borrow money. I want you to listen to the Deputy Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel.
When the NDP came to government in 1984, they met a national debt of $156 million. And I remember in the elections how the people on the platform castigated Cato that he wanted to sell out the country. But when they left a national debt of almost $600 million. What is there to show? For the extra $400 million or so that you have incurred, when your largest capital project was the Otley Hall project of $180 million, where 10 years later, it valued only $18 million. Who benefited from $400 million? Mangal Singh came to St. Vincent to build colonial homes, Madam Speaker. He mortgaged the lands at Diamond. He walked away with millions of dollars. Is the $400 million part of this national debt? If so, therefore, who benefited? Ben Kosoma Adames, I don't know who he is. It's in the paper. He went into the NCB and walked out with $1 million. Is this part of the national debt? Who benefited? Yes, Madam Speaker. The present debt of this country is around $2 billion. But, Madam Speaker, what is there to show for this debt? We have the international airport that we built. It is there. We built it for $700 million. We have the modern port that we're building. It is $600 million. We have a number of road projects. Last year, we started with $120 million. This year, we are continuing with that. There are a number of schools to be built, city fence work. An intense housing program this year, Madam Speaker. Who is benefiting from this debt? The people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the thing is that this country is now positioning itself in a way to repay its loan much easier than before.
You hear that? Well said. Well said. Again, we're talking about that. At least we have something to show for it, and the people are benefiting from it. It's not just the $750 million Argyle International Airport, not just the $650 million port project, not just over $120-something million with road repair and rehabilitative work. We built homes, and we continue to build homes. The government's target of 1,000 homes to be built this year is phenomenal. Phenomenal. River defenses you had up at North and South River in Kingston, down at Bocoment, and Hope Area in Vermont, and elsewhere. Currently, you have Sandy Bay Sea Defense work. We did sea defense work at Georgetown and also Sans Souci. We have things to show for it that are benefiting the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What they have to show. And I'm so happy that the Deputy Prime Minister delved into that. So happy. At least we have a lot to show for it, including, as the Prime Minister said, we built more houses than ever before. And that is a fact.
I could understand why they want to shy away from housing, you know. This government has built more houses for the poor and working people. I ain't talking about those in the public service who got the facility which we put in place, which the NDP opposed actually. Say we'll bust the bank. They said we'll bust the bank. They said if we bust the bank, you're busting the government finances. That's what they said. It's on record. We build houses in Fancy, Oya, Point, Sandy Bay, Noel, Overland, Orange Hill, Dixon, Caratal, Georgetown, Byra, Connery, Villa Point, South Rivers, Park Hill, Sans Souci, Diamond, Green Hill, Atlee Hall, Peters Hope, Petit Bodell, Fitzhughes, and so on. And right now, a number of the houses which were given to people after disasters. And we had a program where we say, if it's a one-bedroom, you pay $1,000. A two-bedroom, you pay $2,000. A three-bedroom, you pay $3,000. It ain't happening. The cabinet has given the Attorney General instructions to make the deed for them and get them free. Get them the deed.
Again, at least we have something to what? To show for it. I started the discussion. That don't have to be bad. It's good when it adds value, when it's beneficial. Just as you, with your home, you borrow money from a financial institution to expand it, to renovate it, it adds value. The value of your property increases. You may borrow money for educational purposes. It's an investment. Good debt. Borrow money for airport. Borrow money for port. borrow money for roads, river and city fences, build homes for people. It's beneficial. It adds value. But with NDP, still up to today, imagine borrowing millions of dollars, over almost $200 million for a project, only to hear in terms of the asset value for the same project is $16 to $18 million. Boy, I tell you, wonders never cease in this place. But the same people who organize that sort of deal want to lecture you on financial management and economic management and management of country. No, man. No, man. But again, that is why I say so many things is at stake. And you know, the funny thing is that the opposition of this country, the leader of the opposition, would want us to return to what he deemed those days as the good old days. You think it wasn't only that, you know? Again, we are quite fortunate today. And I know in the House recently, I think the minister mentioned, the Minister of Energy, that you have a significant increase in terms of persons who are connected to the grid. Again, improved standard of living. But as the Deputy Prime Minister mentioned, there was a time, indeed, when you had frequent blackouts in this country. It was like Twilight Zone. Wanted to listen to the Deputy Prime Minister.
But I also want to say, Madam Speaker, that this country would have seen its darkest days in 1998, 1999, 2000, when almost every day there was a blackout, electricity gone. And when we came to government, we had to immediately go and buy 3 generators for Vinlek to get this country going again with electricity. Eh? I tell you.
Those are the days that the leader of the opposition deemed as the good old days. But you know, as we said, the Agal International Airport, worthwhile investment. But there are those in the NDP who don't think so, you know. You know, it's quite a strange thing because they're all over the place. They're not consistent. 1 minute to hear we support it, next minute to hear we don't support it. You know, like Rich Bramble, when he said NDP supported Agal International Airport and support the port project. Boy, I never see some people so bold-faced and blatant with their lies. I wanted to listen to this.
And it all depends on why are you incurring debt? Correct. Why are you borrowing money? You know, if you're going to borrow money, like for example, we have a new port that they're going to build. It's going to cost us more than $500 million. And my question is, how is this port going to contribute to the development of our country?
I would not venture to guess. I am not a guesser. As a social scientist, as an economist, I like to go with my evidence and my data.
How do you know that?
Well, I mean, you can walk around and see. You live among people. Look at the number of vagrants, quote unquote, vagrants on the street. Look at the number of young children out of school on the streets begging.
Yeah, but you need numbers.
I am not a guesser. As a social scientist, as an economist, I like to go with my evidence and my data.
Fitz, the PM would respond and say, we've just opened Sandals, more hotels to come. They've turned the corner. The unemployment figure is going to start dropping rapidly. How would you respond to that?
First of all, I do not have much regard to what the Prime Minister has to say anymore. As I mentioned earlier, all these broken promises, why should I believe anything he says anymore? You know? And the fact of the matter is, show me the connection between Sandals and all of these glorious things that he's talking about, you know, the new port. Show me how these are impacting positively in a practical way the lives of Vincentians. Show me how it's reducing poverty. Show me how it's reducing unemployment. Show me how
it's coming. We had to wait, but now it's coming.
You need to have economic activity to generate, to produce goods that you can utilize this port for. The same thing with the Argyle International Airport. The question can be asked, what is the contribution of the Argyle International Airport to our economy right now? What is the operating expenses of that airport out there? Are we operating in the red? You know, forget about all the emotional sentiments about, oh, we need an airport, we don't have to go through Barbados. We done gone through all of that. The airport is here. We have to make it work. But is this government making it work? That is the question.
And nobody on the other side has ever, up to today, they cannot convince us. They cannot give us one good reason why they build the airport other than for political purposes. They cannot, because they know the mainland does not have a tourism plan that can cater to international flights. They know that the potential for such development on mainland St. Vincent is extremely limited. They know that the Grenadines has our best mass tourism prospect.
You asked about, oh, the NDP didn't support the airport, which is not true, and the NDP didn't support the port, which is not true. What are you hoping to accomplish by asking those questions?
Consistency.
Boy, I didn't have to say one word, you know. All I just do is line up the recordings and they play. Consistency. 1 minute you're for, 1 minute you're against. How can you trust these people? It's simple as that, you know. How can you trust people like that? Talking from different sides of the mouth when it's convenient. No consistency. You can't trust them. They tell you, oh, we're going to implement CBI because it can fix all the problems. We could reduce tax because of it. But look at the other countries. You see they're reducing tax? Huh? And they're hoping you fall for that and elect them, and next thing they're going to tell you, well, you know, the CBI is undergoing some problems, and therefore we don't have the means right now to reduce any taxes and things. But you could avoid all that, you know. By doing what? Making sure that they continue to keep this government in office before you have to regret. I talked yesterday and say, boss is already asking, Ferdinand, the government change tuition scholarship going to continue? The simple answer is no. Those in Taiwan studying, NDP government, they got to come home. It's simple as that. One China policy. You know, if buts now maybe. So again, you know what you have to do to safeguard your own future and the investment that you already did in your studies. You have no choice but to make sure that Labour Party remains in office and we continue to be friends with Taiwan. It's simple as that, you know. No rocket science. You know what you have to do. Looking forward to get a home or a roof over your head. NDP in the business of building home. The leader of the opposition spoke for over 4 hours. Not a word about housing. Many of very folks in the Grenadines affected need home. Not a word. You want a roof over your head? Your best bet and assurance is to make sure the government remain in office, not to get a house. That is just the reality. That is just the reality. And evidently, again, you can't trust them. You can't tell me 1 minute you oppose the airport and you oppose the port, and the next minute watch me in my face and tell me you never did that. And you think I dotage? Or have Alzheimer's? No, man. No. And you know, The MP for East Kingston said that he can't trust one thing that the Prime Minister says. But really and truly, we already see we can't trust Bramble and his colleagues who are trying to fool us. But Leacock can tell us that there's one man you could trust. Is Prime Minister Dr. Gonzalez. Someone sent me the message here saying Kitts pay more VAT than SVG and they have CBI. You know, saying Kitts VAT is 17%. Antigua VAT is the same, and I mentioned to you right now that the government of Antigua increasing fees for motorists to pay towards roads, and they have CBI. That is a fact. But the opposition here trying to fool people and hoping that we all swallow it, because you know they believe that we dotish and we have Alzheimer's. But Leacock can tell you that if it's one man you could trust, it's Prime Minister Gonzalez. And have it here. Listen.
Veils at the time that the government is representing to us that this country is awash with money. $300 million in the back pocket, 200 in the short pocket, another 100 million in the far pocket, some in the hand, money just coming through the airs. We got 300 and something up to this time last year and 400 and something. This magical highlighting of millions to blow people's mind, to give people the sense that we good. Things not hard in Simmons after all. There's millions about. The Prime Minister, not to be outdone by his son, says that over the next 3 years, we're spending $600 million right the port. The guys them down in Bookman to building the hotel, the Sandal, they're spending $500 million. NIS putting in $90 million up here. And we have hotels coming through A's. We have money up in North Windward. You know, lots of millions, 100 million stuff. You see, when you add it all up, we will end up spending about $3 billion over the next 3 years. Well, I've learned in politics to take the Prime Minister at his word. If he tells you so, believe him.
You hear that? If the Prime Minister tells you so, you better believe it. And don't worry now. I have an interesting recording to bring that shows even the opposition believes it or not. But that's for another program, you know? That's for another program. I just love what I do, man. But we're at the end of the program. I want to thank everyone who listened. I see Frederick. Yes, Frederick just joined on the live. I see Days and Cecile. Good morning to you. Valor, Fire, and others. I see a message here. Someone said last year on the 24th of January, my granddaughter had open heart surgery at Texas Children's Hospital. She was sent there through WPP, that is World Pediatric Project, and we were housed at Ronald Donald House. And we are grateful, and I'm grateful to share the story of my granddaughter again. WPP doing wonderful things here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we thank them. With that, it's midday here in St. Vincent, and therefore I want to thank you for listening. Take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful afternoon.